Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so when I sat down today, I said I want to do something informational. And so I was like, I've already done my foundation and concealer routine. I want to go ahead and do my bronzer, blush, and highlight routine. So I got out 2 of my favorite of each product, and I only have 3 brushes. I use the same brushes every time. It's so easy, and I'll show you in depth of why I pick these products and why I place them in the places that I do, because I have some wrinkles and some texture that you kind of have to stay away from, and you got to use products that will help with that, or at least not emphasize it. So if you want to see this like super in depth, like teach you how to place bronzer, blush, and highlight routine, then just go ahead and keep watching. Okay, let's go ahead and start with bronzers first. I'm going to show you my favorite 3 ones that I always gravitate towards. The first one is the Marc Jacobs Omega bronzer. This is the shade Tantric. I really like this bronzer because it's got a red tint to it, and I think I'm going to use that one today. Then I have MAC Give Me Sun. This is a lot more orangey undertones, and I think this looks good on tan skin. If you're pale like me and you just like a warm bronzer, it's good, but you got to be careful with that one if you are pale. And then the one from the drugstore I like is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade Bronzer. And this is the darker of the 2. They only make 2 shades. It's a very subtle bronzer, so if that's what you're going for, then that'll work. But let's go ahead and I'm going to show you the brush and show you how to I apply it. Okay, this brush is the Morphe M530 brush. It's got like natural hairs to it. It sheds like a bitch, so it's really bad for shedding, but it will make you apply your bronzer so much better. Like if you are heavy-handed with your bronzer, this will save your life. So you really have to build with this brush. You can keep dipping hard as you want to, and it just doesn't make it too muddy. I really like this brush, especially if you're a beginner or if you're very heavy-handed like me. Okay, so I just go ahead and I take it and I just dip it like this, like tap it up and down and then tap it off one time. I always like to start around my forehead just because I don't know why, but I take the brush and I just go back and forth like lightly on my forehead. See where I was just playing with that brush and now hairs are falling out everywhere? But I go around the perimeters of my forehead. I push down and just kind of swirl it in like that. And I go all the way around. I even do the temples right here because I like the way that looks like when it's kind of like darkened on like all around the perimeter. And so then I do the same thing on the side. Sometimes I'll just take it like this and just kind of zigzag it into the face. Sometimes I'll roll it around. Like that'll make it apply like a lot heavier if you take it and roll it. This always messes up my hair, so I never do this and like after my hair's fixed because it always messes it up. So that's my forehead. Okay, and then on the cheek, I'll come around and I'll hold my hair up and I'll just kind of suck it in and put it right where it sucks in and a little up. So I'll go and I just like kind of go back and forth. I just kind of beat it into the face a little bit. And I don't come very far in here because then you're going to have like that really, it messes up the wrinkles right here. I don't know. It makes the skin too thick right around your mouth. I like to stop maybe like 2 fingertips away from my mouth. It's like, so I just put like 2 fingers right there. And so that's just kind of what I do here. Sometimes I'll connect it, sometimes I don't, but we'll connect it today. They say make a 3 around your face. And so I'll just take it and then I'll just barely run it around like my neck and my chin area. A lot of people, that's where they contour, but I don't like to use contour all the time, so I just want a little extra color, so I'll just run it all around the bottom of my face. And I'll like emphasize the chin a little bit, like around like where the bone of the chin is. This brush will kind of break me out sometimes because it's like, I guess it's goat hair. And I'm allergic, I'm very allergic, like my dogs and stuff, like they always break me out. And I do the same thing over here. I just do like a little bit of a suck in, and then I just start rolling it into its place. I'm just doing like these kind of circular motions, and then I'll like bring it down. But then I'll kind of come up like this and kind of make sure that they're even on both sides. Because like one of my cheeks is higher, like, and one sits lower, that like my face is kind of deformed. And sometimes I'll like, my bronzer will be too high on one side and not enough on the other, and you just kind of even it up. That's about all I do for the bronzer. Okay, so the shade of blush that you use is going to be based on what shades you used on your eyes. If you use cool tones on your eyes like blues and pinks, I like to keep my blush at a muted pink shade, like a cooler tone, and I'm going to show you an example of that. This is BECCA Flower Child. See how this has got like a more of a bluish tint pink to it? And that is the shade that I like for this look. I also use for my warm looks, like my orangey looks or like my bronzy days, I will use MILANI Luminoso. That's a drugstore choice. This has got like that peachy pink undertone, and I really like that for like my bronzy days, because it's, if you are like bronzy, then that little bit of peachy pink will just bring that little bit of color back to your face. It looks so good. And then on universal days that I do like smoky eyes or like just cooler tone smoky eyes, I will use MAC Melba blush. This was the very first blush that I ever used. They put it on me at MAC years ago. I still have it, and I always go back to this. This is like the perfect, like pinky, peachy. It's matte, so it's not got any shimmer to it. It's just like a flat, it's like an everyday perfect blush. I'm going to show it to you again. So that is Melba, and that is just like my baby right there, and that is so good. Okay, so that's the 3 blushes. These 3 blushes do apply differently, but I always use the same brush to apply my blush. This is the Sigma Large Angled Contour Brush. This is the F40, and it's got like the angle to it, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to apply blush and how you won't overdo it and where to place it. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and use MAC Melba, and what I do is I take this contour brush and I just dip it in there just like I do bronzer, like all around the brush, and then I'll tap it off. And then where I put my blush is, I put my blush right on top of my bronzer. I know it sounds weird because you feel like you're like mixing, like losing your color, but I promise you, you'll be able to see the blush through the bronzer and it not be like 3 different streaks, like bronzer, blush, highlight. And so I hate that when that happens. It happens to me all the time. So what I've started doing is I've started taking my brush and I just like lightly do the zigzag until I've got some color, and then once I got the color placed, I'll start tapping it right into my bronzer. That way it's not too close to your eye, because I used to put my blush up too high, and to me it would get into like my old lady creases on my eye. I didn't like it. And so I'll do the same thing on this side. I'll kind of give it like a zigzaggy feel, and then I'll just start tapping my blush into my cheek and over until I've got my color built up to where I want it. Then when I've got it placed, I'll take the brush after it don't have any more product on it and just like lightly tap it right into that cheek right there. So then it's like blended, but you're not having any extra product on it, so you're not like gonna overdo and look like a clown. And that just, to me, that just smooths it out, and that looks really good. So that is what we have so far. And let's go ahead and do highlight. Okay, so my first one is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi highlight, and this is in the shade Rose. This is what it looks like. It's got some like rosy shades, and then a little bit more champagne-y shade, and then a white shade. And so when you mix all that together, you've got a nice like rosy pink. And I like this one. I usually wouldn't like a pink highlight, but if you put it over top of your pink blush, really goes together, ties the look together. I really like that look. And for my high end, I use the Hourglass Ethereal Light. I only have a small one because this one's like $22, the small one. but this one gives your skin such a glow. You can put it under your eyes if you want to, and it's not going to emphasize lines. It looks really good, and I'll show you how to do it, but let's go ahead and do it, and then I'll just show you. Okay, so I used the Morphe fan brush. This is just what it looks like, and I just go ahead and swirl it around in the highlight. Just get it on the tip, and I'll apply this shade. I use two. I applied this one right here. Like, you kind of suck in. Don't put it up here, because then if you have wrinkles right there, you are going to emphasize those. So you want to touch it right about here. So then when you turn your cheek, your highlight is hitting right there. And so you don't, I used to do it up here. That's not a good look, especially if you're 33 like me. So I put my highlight right about there. So then I'll just take it and I'll just go back and forth right along that cheekbone. And then if you need more, you can pack it in, build it up, whatever you got to do to make it shiny. But see, then I'm leaving these wrinkles alone. So it's just on that tip right there. And then I'll go to the other side and do that side. You can roll it around. You just don't want to like overdo it. Okay. So then like the light is just popping it right there on the cheekbone. And that's how I do my highlighter. Okay, then I go back in with the ethereal light. I love this one. You can put highlighter on the balls of your cheeks if you don't mind your cheeks looking fat. If you already have fat cheeks, then don't do it. But what I do is I smile and I touch my cheek right here on the front with the ethereal light. If you do this with a heavy highlight, you're going to be sad when you look at yourself. But if you do it with that ethereal light one, it does not accentuate pores. It looks so good. And then I'll take it right down my nose. Do not go all the way down. Only highlight right here, then stop right here, and then go down and highlight right there. See? Okay, so I just do the tip of my nose, and I make sure it's like built up, and I use the ethereal light for this one. So see how I'm like right here, skip this, go down here, because if you take your brush and you highlight all the way down it, your nose is going to go out like that. It looks weird. So if you highlight right here, you've got like, you're going to bring this part out, you're going to bring this tip back in, and then this is going to come back out, and you're going to have like a little button nose. But if you go all the way down it, you're going to have that big, like, it's going to look like the bone comes all the way out. So that's how I leave my highlight. You can also highlight your chin with this ethereal light. Please don't do that with a heavy highlight, or you're going to have like pores galore. And then if you want to hit like your eyebrow, you can do that too. And that just kind of lifts the eyebrow and just kind of makes it glow around there. And then you did not do any crow's feet or anything like that. So now you're like perfectly glistening and highlighted without having your pores accentuated. All right. Alright guys, so that was my bronzer, blush, and highlight routine. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave me a like on this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Go leave a comment on my 1,500 subscriber giveaway so you can possibly win that the Jaclyn Hill palette and all that stuff that's in that video. But anyways, thanks guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.